Welcome to another edition of the Average Pastor Podcast. I'm here, Mark. I'm here with my pastor friends. Got Jake back. Jake, how's it feel to be back?
Good. Good to be back.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll hear more about your adventures here in a little bit. Drew is back. Drew, we were talking about how you're maybe not even a guest anymore. You're just
I don't think so.
a regular who's sometimes not here.
Wait, I've been more on the podcast this summer than Jake, right?
Yeah.
It's a low bar. But
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah, he's been gone, so
Yeah. So
you can't welcome me as a guest. Like, how many times in a row can I be on the podcast and you keep introducing me as a guest? I think it's over.
So Drew is just another pastor friend that's here. And our other pastor, Jeff Dodge, is just walking in right now. So we are just getting started here. So
Is this a first?
Jeff is here.
A late walk-in?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just jumping in.
I'm so glad to be here
This
for
brings
this.
like average pastor to a new level. We can't even make it on time to our own podcast. That's how average we are.
Jeff,
So
there it
lame.
is. What you got rain on your glasses.
I do.
Yeah. You're
Seriously.
But the level of production,
what
it's
it
like
is.
Jeff's going to be 5 minutes late. Mark's like, we're not going to wait. Let's just start.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
We can just sit down.
Yeah, we just had an empty chair there for the beginning, so that's why you need to watch the video. You would never know.
Oh, my
if you were just
word.
listening.
Yeah.
Are we gonna ask Jeff what his excuse is? Make him defend
Yeah.
himself on the podcast.
Jeff, we are so punctual around here. What is your
He's
excuse for
probably
being
got
late?
like a legit, he was visiting someone in the hospital or helping a dead cat on the street
Well-
or something.
Well,
I don't
pretty
know.
close.
It's actually kind of close to that.
Yeah. I had no doubts that it was legit.
No, but here's the reality. By the way, I don't hear anything in here, but it doesn't matter. No, we stayed up way too late last night. There we go. Well, no, it went away again. Doesn't matter. We stayed up way too late last night. I woke up this morning. I'm making sure Drew has coffee for his morning, and all of a sudden I'm like, I'm supposed to be leading a meeting at Faith Academy. So I go bolting out the door. Thankfully got there in time to lead the meeting that I called, which is, comical that I would forget.
Can you explain Faith Academy? What is
yeah.
Faith Academy?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a school here in the Iowa City area on the east side that there was a guy who, I think it was through Boys and Girls Club, started mentoring some young men when they were in their high school years and he was in college. But by the time their high school days were over, every one of the kids that he was mentoring was either incarcerated or dead. And he just said, we have to reach these kids earlier. And so just got a passion to start a school. He was a history major, no background in starting a school or anything like that, but had a vision for having the gospel get to some of the most disadvantaged kids in the community. So that's kind of the heartbeat of Faith Academy. And now it's got, 150 kids in it, and several of our Veritas people teach there. The head of the school is, Eric Bodine from here. So now I lead the board for that. And I was telling them this morning, I feel like as I'm seeing all these teachers come in this morning, because they're doing their preschool stuff, I'm like, I feel like our job as a board, because I've never led a board in that way. It's I'm not profit, non-for-profit thing. I said, I feel like we're kind of supposed to keep the operating system going. In other words, we're the ones that should figure out how to get that kitchen up to snuff so we could feed these kids meals, how to get a lease agreement going with the place we're at. Like, so the teachers can come and all they're thinking about is all these scholars, all these children coming in, and the gospel and how they can teach well and give the gospel. So we've got a really important job, but it's just kind of stay out of the way, you know what I mean? And do the stuff that just makes the real work possible. You know what I mean? So
Faith Academy, what a cool work of God here in the city. And Doug Fern started that. There's a guy who we'll get to heaven and realize, the most amazing people nobody ever knew, but Doug's
100%.
heart to start that. He's pastoring up in St. Cloud, I think, Minnesota, but
up in Minnesota.
sweet. That, I guess that's going to be our our topic then. But actually not Faith Academy. I peruse through and have at least some ideas of what we're going to talk about. So but I do want to talk about this, a culture of, how do we feel about a culture of punctuality and time?
Oh man.
How do you guys
I've been set
interact
up.
with this? Because the topic is not Faith Academy. It's like your culture of time, how you guys view time. Because I feel like I was born in the wrong culture. You know, like
Do you belong in Zambia?
yeah, I don't get this whole like obsession with, you know, starting meetings on time and everything's like so just like our meeting starts at 8:30 and it's like we're in it. Jake, how do you think about time as it relates to your staff? Like
that seems like a big philosophical. How do you think about time? Like, we're gonna get into the time-space continuum here. Like,
I promise
black
it's not that
holes, and
philosophical.
we're going back into the black hole, Jake. No, I'm curious.
Like, am I a punctual person?
You guys, okay, so Jake and Drew, you both lead your staff teams. Like, how do you think about like time is money? You know, if we're
That's
not
my philosophy.
time is money.
It's either you're like Mark or time is money.
There's nowhere in between. Like,
For us, we're the time is money guys. We're gonna stand on that. In the church.
Do you walk in the spirit or the flesh?
yeah, like you really painted that as kind of a sinful approach to do it. You guys are lovers of money,
are
probably.
you
Like,
lovers of time?
Yeah.
Are you like
it's
lovers of punctuality?
Yeah. I don't get this time. Why don't the evil people talk about this?
Talk about leading the witness. What do you think about
I mean,
it?
my dad was a football coach, and in sports, to be early was to be on time. To be on time was to be late, and to be late was to be in big trouble. That was our mantra.
So how does that? Okay, great team culture for sports. Like, would you say? Because I feel like if I was a football coach, I might lean toward that more. Is there?
Yeah, if you're going into team time and your whole team's not there yet, or they're showing up in the middle of practice,
Right.
you might care about time.
Did you hear how uncommitted Mark was even in that? If I was a football coach,
maybe I would care a little bit more. Right.
no, you wouldn't. No one who watches this podcast, listens to the podcast, and certainly no one who knows you believes that you would be any different if you were a
In any context.
It's inside run period, and we don't have a running back, but yeah. Let's just talk, guys.
We're just not going to run those plays.
We're just having a good time in the running back
I don't
room.
know. It's like this punt.
Just-
I don't know. Punter's here. Second down.
The punter's here. The only play we know how to run is the long snapper and the punter. And
Oh, wait, they're gone too. Shoot.
Sounds an awful lot like Iowa football. It gets me ready. It gets me excited for this season. Some second down punting. I would have taken that. Some of these last
It's
few
gonna
years.
play to your strength.
This is we're gonna gonna get them down to the 1 yard. We're gonna pin them down and block their punt.
So, would you say the concept of time needs to maybe be flexible depending on the context?
Sounds like that's what he's saying.
There's
I
some
don't-
things
I'm
you
asking-
should not be late for, and there's other things that's like it's not that big a deal.
like I
Or do you?
I
think-
show up a little late for our own staff meetings at 8:30.
on purpose?
No, I'm like I don't know. I was enjoying the morning and like I don't know. I ran into one car. You know, took too long at the stop
Are
sign.
you okay if other people do?
Yeah. So our basically our culture is Jeff. What is our culture? Like, what's your experience of our culture? It's
It is. I mean, the friend culture. I mean, friendship is definitely a high value, and I think appropriately high value as it pertains to just start time or whatever. I think. I mean, I've never actually just taken a roster call, But I would say most people are generally there like at 8:30,
Mhm.
but they're grabbing coffee, they're seeing friends, they're catching up on what happened the day before. So there's a mingle, I guess, an intentional mingle culture for 15 minutes. I don't know how long,
It's-
but
Based on if the meeting is, hey, we have our staff meeting on Monday morning, the first 15 minutes are kind of mingle. So it is kind of we don't really get started until that's in itself a culture. But if they're saying, hey, we're doing an elder meeting, we got this stuff to cover, we need to get started right away.
Mhm.
And you have people come in that it's like, okay, now we got to go back and review what we talked. Like there's a sense of you're not being
that is
helpful.
interesting because elder meetings do actually, everybody is there promptly at
Yeah.
6. You know
People
what I mean?
are there
So you're-
at 6-ish. And I think that it's our agenda is we spend the first 5 minutes just kind of
we're
talking
friends. Yep.
and friends, and then we get into prayer. And so if somebody does come in, it's not like we're deep into some
miss
agenda, it's, I don't know. I feel like even that, elder meetings have a culture of more
Mhm.
punctuality. I think guys showing up at 6 and having to leave, some of them at 7:15, 7:30, you're like, this
Yeah, they got
time is,
Right.
it may be time isn't money, but time's a little more precious
Mhm.
in that.
Yeah.
I think that, so our culture of like,
But do you ever feel like being late is being a bad friend to everybody else?
Hmm.
Like I held up the meeting. I made everybody wait on me.
So, okay, this is where I think with Jeff being late, Jeff called and was like, hey, this meeting and I was leading it, got out of it. I'm on my way. I'm like, sweet. Yeah, we'll get started and come when you come. And
Mhm.
I'm not mad about, to me, that's just like, oh, cool.
Yeah, life happens.
Stuff happens. And I don't see it as, bro, you're stealing my time.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
even in
you're
that,
robbing me of
Yeah.
my
even-
precious time. I'm like,
even
oh,
in that
sure.
illustration, I don't see that as time as much as it is flexibility. Jeff respected the start time. He called. You understood the situation. No big deal. The other sense is he doesn't call because it's like, we'll just get started when everybody's there and we can just chill out and wait until everybody's there. And it's 10 minutes. Jeff's not here yet. Oh, call him. Where's he at? It's like, I'm coming. Like to me, those are two very different cultures.
Hmm.
Because you did acknowledge a start time that you weren't going to meet and you let somebody know
Yeah.
and you were flexible about it.
Do you think there could be the danger in the culture that have here at Veritas, Iowa City, is the danger could be it could fuel laziness.
Mhm.
Like people oversleep, they come in with bedhead,
Right.
they're kind of unkempt, it's just like a mess. And it fuels a lazy culture. That's definitely a danger. That's not our staff. Like we have, I think our staff is incredibly hardworking all the way through. So there is a danger there of that more laissez-faire, hey, you show up when you show up culture. But I just think that for me, our staff meeting starts at 8:30, but it doesn't really start till about 8:45.
Sure.
And I see it as, people are getting their coffee. They're it's Monday.
Yeah.
And
that's one meet. I wonder about like
elder
other
meetings a
What's
little
your
different.
culture
Yeah.
like?
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably things start a little more on time at Redemption than they do in Iowa City. But I think that I hope people feel like it's not a high expectation culture in terms of like, you better be here or everybody's kind of staring you down. Like, I don't want there to be a sense of like, oh, you walk in late.
So you have a low expectation culture.
I mean, I think we have a high trust culture.
Sure.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
we trust you. And for the most part, you're doing a great job. So
yeah. I like that high trust. So we talk about there are things that happen that create a gap and you can either put trust in that gap or suspicion in that gap. Now, it's not wrong to put suspicion in the gap, but if you find yourself, you have to approach the subject. So if somebody's late, it's easy to put trust in the gap of like, I'm sure they got something going on. They'll be here when they can. But if it's like, this person's late all the time, I'm having a harder time trusting something. So I'm gonna ask him, hey, why were you late? And if it's I was down in the cafe, I was talking to like they're doing pastoral work. It's like, that's great. It's good people.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, oh yeah, I overslept again. Now it's like, okay, is this irresponsibility or are you just not taking? So I think a culture of perpetual lateness might communicate a problem.
So growing up, my memories of church are that we never heard the announcements because they were always at the front of the service started, and they started with announcements. You know, our pastor Bob Thune would be up there, and I'm like I remember one time vaguely catching the end of the announcement time, like, oh, that's what they're doing, and I just thought that's
Does this happen every week?
Yeah, and I was like, so. But nobody, I can't think of a human in that church that was more committed to being there than the Arrett family. Like we were there all the time. We were probably the last ones. So if you're talking about time, why don't you track the end of the time?
Yeah. Who stays longer?
Who stays longer? Well, if you showed up on time, but you left as soon as the service was over, to me, you kept the time.
But
you missed all the people.
Creating your own thing. It's like it starts and stops here, and you're like, no, it starts and stops when I come and leave. Like, there's a little bit of narcissistic.
Oh, come on! I think
wow. Now we're going to narcissism. Man, that's good.
Yeah, because
really
nobody's more narcissistic than Jack Arrett, right? I mean, my dad.
You were just saying, let's measure it on. It's like, well, there is somebody defined a start and a stop time, and
So-
you're like, that doesn't matter.
I know.
Well,
I know many people throughout like the life of redemption, the history of our church, have expressed thanks for my wife Melissa, because I think she thinks that we only sing 3 songs every Sunday, because she always misses the first song and like announcements, and my kids kind of come in and it's a little scrambly and all that. But women will express to me and to her, even though she's trying to get there on time, that it's created a culture that's like, we understand. Like that, I mean, we have 5 kids, and at the beginning of the life of our church, it's like, there's a parking garage around the corner, and you know, we're at the top of an escalator, and my kids love the escalator. So if one of them like ran in before and went up, they'd ride down, and she's like trying to get up, like, you know. And that was their question when we built our building was there going to be an escalator? And Melissa's like, thank God, no, you know, and all. But I think that if you're a rigid person or a rigid leader, it can create a sense of expectation for those around you, even unknowingly or unwittingly. Like, and sometimes, I mean, we've talked about that. Sometimes you have a staff person who's very, very dialed and disciplined, and they can create that expectation on other people.
I think
is expectation bad?
Yeah, if it's, because I go back to Melissa. If you are somebody that just shakes your head when Melissa comes in late, I'm like, you are straining. You are okay, but just the Melissa thing. You are straining a gnat and swallowing a camel, because you don't understand. Melissa, think about this. All of our wives, they come to church every week of their lives. They've never been able to walk in with their husband to church, because we're always. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the compassion I have for Melissa is like, she's trying to get 5 kids going to church. The fact that she's even there, so she walks in late every week. I'm like, man, God bless her. You know?
Well, and more often than not, she's in the lobby, and if she runs into somebody, she's got a mercy gift, so she'll just be like, "How are you doing?" And people just share, with her, and so she'll end up in a conversation.
I think it's very different to be understanding of situations and people and circumstances and patience, and that's, to me, is a completely different thing. But I think expectations are a very good and necessary thing. It's like you have employees, you expect to get a paycheck, and I expect you to do a job.
Yeah.
And there's
You've talked about this, Jake, where sometimes church staff can be if two spouses work and one's like has a job that they have to clock in and it's more of a rigid job, and then the other person is working on staff and they're more flexible, who's the one that's going to end up, taking the brunt of, well, I can't be at that meeting because I got to stay home with the kid, or I got to get this kid here or there. Like, how do you think about that? Does that, because I think that
if there's a situation
that can be frustrating as a leader.
Yeah, ministry can be a very flexible job. There's a benefit to that. But if it's like your spouse's job wins every time, and it wasn't just you moved some of your work around that you needed to do, because you have freedom to do that. You're making other people, you missed a meeting you needed to be at, or you didn't meet a deadline.
So everybody else's work is hampered because you had a key voice and you,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it does. The context does. Like, for instance, James, you have the service times. Things start precisely on the moment.
Yeah. Our culture at Veritas is not that we, start services whenever. They start at 8:15, 9:30,
right on time,
10:45.
Because if
Salt Company starts 7 to 8 minutes late.
Well, some of that is you don't have another service after it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Salt.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I do think, if we instead implemented let's just wait till everybody gets here.
Yeah.
That would be a problem for especially all the people that
do care about time is if you're preaching, don't go over 35 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. That's why we don't have you preach anymore. Jake can't hit his 35-minute
I'm
deadline.
like, show up on time, and I'll be done when I'm done.
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up, Jake, because time is
you're
so
on
precious.
time to the meeting, but the meeting goes over every time.
Well, on time. They can cut a song.
Yeah. James.
Oh, my heart. It's like a knife in my heart.
Yeah.
Somebody else has got to make up for
like, oh, of course.
all the people that practice their songs all week
doesn't
to
count.
nail that guitar part, and Jake's like, "We'll just cut your song."
That doesn't matter.
Okay,
It's a decision.
so I was on staff at a church where the expectation was that once the service started, when you were on staff, you were in your seat, and
Really?
like as a staff person, so you the service that you're going to, you're kind of getting people to go in because the service is starting and whatever. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So we don't do that. Like, I don't,
No.
like, even services I'm preaching at, I'm not in there when the service starts.
I think there's a rigidness that means like, do you just not trust your employees, or do you just not trust your people? I'm sure they're, you want to have high trust, but time is an indicator that could be a window into a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
Yeah.
So when I'm out greeting people as I come in, love standing outside. Hey, welcome to church, and I can see as soon as it turns whatever the service time is, 8:15, 9:30. I can see that people look at me like I'm in trouble, and I love that because I'm like, oh no. If I didn't work here, I'd be walking in after you for sure. Like
What's hilarious is I've been
having
in the service. Those songs and announcements are winding down. The preaching time is coming real quickly. And I see Mark's microphone on the empty chair in front of me. And I immediately am starting to think, am I going to need to run up there? Am I going to need to bail this guy out?
I'm out, outside.
But he comes in and he's chill. I'm way more nervous than Mark is.
I'm probably different than you guys in this then, because again, all for being flexible, and people have situations and but one question to ask is, as a leader, if everybody functioned like I function, would it be good for the church or not good for the church? And if you're like, well, not just a few people, everybody comes in 10 minutes late, you'd be like, well, I think we have a problem. So I think that's one of the things to think about.
I don't know if I think if if everyone did what I did, yeah, but apply that to preaching. If the worship leader did what you did, and like, I think we're gonna add another song.
I'm not talking about task. It's like, you're not having everybody preach.
I'm saying, no, if everyone went longer than their allotted time in the service, like if the worship, if you're like, hey, this is, I know it's supposed to be,
He
I know
wants to throw your thing back in your face.
Like if the opening songs, if they decided, you know what, we're going to add another song.
Yeah.
Jake, we're going to have to take that out of your sermon time.
I would probably be like, great. The nursery workers might have a problem.
It's a domino effect. Okay, so if everyone did what I did, would they? So, but here's maybe I do think that's a good thing to think about, because that's a form of, I think, loving your neighbor as yourself. If I am thinking about other people and how this affects other people, me being late. I guess my question in that would be, well, how do you factor in people's personalities? Well, not everyone is like me. Some people like being 10 minutes early. They like to come in, find their seat, sit down. Other people don't. That's their personality. That's how they are. And I'm not them, and they're not me. Like, I don't want them necessarily coming in late, or I don't. So I think that, because this was actually a question that was sent in to us, right? About a culture of people coming in late to the service.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
there was someone that listens and says in their church they have a problem of people like a culture of coming in late to the church service, and they're like, what do you guys think about that?
And there is a line somewhere, right? Because when you're up there preaching, so you're, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes into the whole hour together, and you see this family come in and come 2/3 up and try to squeeze, you know what I mean?
And they're distracting
everybody. And there is a line somewhere where you're like, well, your lateness is actually now disrupting everybody. So there is I have this
unspoken, well, I'm about to speak it, but I have this idea that if I'm like less than 6 minutes late, that to me is like, I won't.
There's no penalty for that.
It's like there's like a free 6 minute grace period. If I'm going to be over 6 minutes late, I'm texting like, man, I'm sorry I'm late. This is right.
So that's,
I don't know. I just made that up.
That's you respecting the time dynamic. You're letting them know.
Yeah. And I think it's respecting the fact that I know I'm an American living in an American culture. If I was in Zambia and I was 6 minutes late, I wouldn't send the text, because I'm like, I'll be one of the
guy wouldn't be there who you were meeting with. Right?
But context
matters. Yeah.
So like going to your staff meeting on a Monday morning is going to be very different than football practice.
Yeah. Context matters. Do you think how much of
about? I'm guessing the question. What about the context of the worship service?
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think?
Okay, let me bring one more dynamic into it. Like
because we don't have enough moving parts.
But okay, what do you guys think? Like, repeatedly in the Gospels, Jesus will get up before the disciples, won't leave a Post-it note, and will just be out doing his thing. Or you think about him in the temple when he's 12. There's a repeated pattern in Jesus' life of being what we would like unequivocally call being inconsiderate, and he doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't apologize for it. His disciples are like,
I think
where we're like,
well, what, Drew?
Where we've been looking everywhere for you, and he's like,
I had to do my Father's will.
Yeah, I'm doing my Father's will. Like, and then he's like, I came to preach the gospel. Let's go. And it's like so unsatisfactory. And so, is there a category in the life of a follower of Christ? Because he's obviously breaking a social norm, or they wouldn't be mad for breaking social norms and not apologizing for it.
Well, again, I think where were you? I was preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
If there's somebody, it's like, why were you late to our meet? You were a
Totally.
half hour late. And I was like, I just led somebody to Christ like, in the cafe. I'm like,
I just
how
brought
dare you?
sight
Like,
Right.
to
yeah.
a blind person.
Usually that's not the reason though.
Yeah, usually it's just like, oh, we were goofing off. And
There was a little girl
Right.
that needed to be raised from the dead.
all of those notes will count. Like you bring,
Right.
yeah.
But it's getting up early to pray and not like that. That would be an example. Like, okay, it's Saturday morning. You get up, you go to a coffee shop. You don't leave a note for your family. You're there spending time with Jesus, and you come back at 10 a.m. and your wife's like, "Where were you?" We're like, "You were supposed to be making the pancakes. Can you play the?" You should have known that I was spending time with Jesus card. It doesn't seem like a one-to-one.
How would that go over with Marcy?
You're,
Marcy.
okay,
Well,
because
again, I think you're in patterns of relationship.
Yeah.
If that was and she gets up on a Saturday morning and I'm not there, and it's like, oh yeah, sometimes I know he's probably out praying somewhere, or he's at a coffee
Yeah.
shop. So I think in
Do you-
those dynamics,
do you because I can see where my grandfather was always leading someone to Christ, and maybe some of my dad's memories of him were he was never, and as a salesman too, like he's interacting with people, but he was never home on time for dinner. He was always late, but
And
late
your
in
dad
a like
found that to be a
couple
negative.
hours, like you're not getting home till 7 or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
And that was and it was always, you could always kind of smear Jesus over it.
Yes.
And
yes.
that is where I draw the line on,
Right.
that to your wife, that's a different kind of disrespect.
Mhm.
I wouldn't like, no. And Drew, we've talked about this. Just riff on your advice to young pastors about getting home at a certain time. We've talked about like, I don't know what, if you read a book or if we were just talking about it, maybe it was just the
Yeah.
discovery of like the importance of getting home to help
Right.
Melissa.
Right. Well, I encourage young guys, like, I mean, kind of in that little kid phase or whatever. I mean, we always call it the witching hours. And it's like 4 p.m. I'm getting the text from Melissa. Like, where are you? I need your help. Like, because it starts to get into like multitasking, right? You're trying to get dinner ready. The kids are like kind of starting to want somebody to wrestle with or somebody to play with or whatever. And I'm just like, well, I learned actually here in Iowa City when I was on staff, if I got to a coffee shop or something like that at 6 a.m., then I could get a bunch of my work done then. So it was a matter of me flexing my schedule and still putting in a good full day's work every day. But I could flex my schedule around
Mhm.
what Melissa was doing and be like most helpful to her. Because the morning didn't tend to be her tough time. Maybe it is
Yeah.
for another woman, but just like encouraging guys, like, we don't have a clock in, clock out job.
So get home at 4:30.
If
and
that's
help
what
out.
your wife needs, that's what my wife needed. So
Yeah.
I want to give them the freedom to do that. Or even trading hours. Like sometimes, hey, work on your sermon from 8 p.m. till midnight, if that's helpful, a certain day. And your wife needs you to jump home and run the
Mhm.
kids around to doctor's appointments or do those types of things.
Now, a lot of the people
Yeah.
listening to this, though, they don't have that luxury.
Totally.
Right. They've,
So that's
they've got
specific-
a job that says you have to be here.
Yep.
So whether 4 o'clock is the bewitching hour or not,
Yep.
the spouse has to say, I actually can't leave work. I can't be home.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
then there has to be another level
the-
of understanding and
Is the witching hour, isn't that a red zone reference of as the games are all coming down the last 2 minutes? Anyway,
I don't
the
do red
witching
zone,
hour.
so-
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
it
don't
goes
know.
back farther than that.
like Salem.
The Salem
That's
witch
my-
trials. Yeah.
That's my only reference to the witching hour was red zone. He's like, it's the witching hour where winners become losers.
Yeah, but
it's
there's
like-
got to be an application even for somebody with a more rigid schedule.
That's what I'm saying. That
They can flex something, right? Maybe they go from work to the gym and they need to, instead of going to the gym after work, they need to get up earlier and work out so that they can be home earlier or
yeah.
totally.
whatever.
Here's your trivia.
Okay.
Witching hour. traditionally means a time at night, usually between midnight or between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., when supernatural powers are believed to be at their peak.
So it does go to
Yes.
Salem.
Yes.
We're back to the Salem witch trials.
And I think that's
reference,
I think
Mark.
that's exactly
Back to the dark ages.
I think that's exactly how a lot of women feel at that time. Totally. It's very
Actually,
apt.
that was a perfect.
Kids are
It was
demon
actually.
possessed.
They're being possessed.
supernatural things are happening in the home. Get your butt home.
You
and
call yourself a pastor. Get here now.
it's the
Go do
witching
some,
hour.
go do some exorcisms back at your own house. Well, I mean, to that point, I mean, we're so far off the beaten path. Do we have a beaten path? I don't know. But
Jeff,
anyway,
we're
we're so far off
We're as
it.
much on the path as we've ever
The
been.
question is when it comes to the context of a worship service, because we've kind of established maybe there's some meetings or things that can be really flexible. You got like a football practice over here. It's not. Where does the worship gather? What pastoral counsel would be helpful to people when it comes to the worship gathering? Like you gave one example. Hey, if you're coming in the middle of the message, you can be a distraction to a lot of people.
And the bummer is, in our context, there are no seats in the back because everybody that came in late before those people
those
came in
bags.
late have taken all those. So
Yeah.
so you're just like, yeah, I think you should stand or something. You know what I mean? Like just a courtesy. It's just, would you do the same at a concert or whatever?
Well,
like don't usher yourself.
What's James?
I was just going to say, the question that we got, this was from a woman who works for a church in Michigan who was saying, they've got issues with lots of people coming in late, but then also people leaving like when the service is over or even right after the message, getting up and leaving to beat the traffic or whatever. Like, is that something you would ever address to the congregation, or how?
That's
would
a
you shepherd
hilarious
that?
concept to leave church early to beat the traffic. Like it's the fourth
Oh,
quarter.
man.
of
I think
a
she said
football
like right after the sermon.
Yeah, I remember
We
that would
see
happen
that.
at Cornerstone sometime back in the day. You'd
Like
see
you're
people leave
just-
right.
we see that if you're
Totally.
out in the foyer after the message, you're like, did the service get out? Because there is
Yes.
a wave of people that,
Yeah.
like, okay, I heard the message.
Yeah.
I think that's my impulse on that is to say, just live and let live on that one. Like if you try to, I'm just trying to imagine, hey guys, we got
Sit back
people coming in
down.
late. We got people leaving early to beat traffic. As soon as you say that and try to set that culture, to me, I'm just like, ooh, it's too controlling. It's too, just who cares? Yeah. I mean, you like enjoy and just, it's part of, I don't know. You think of it, if you're welcoming people to your home, I've never felt that in your house, Jeff. You guys are some of the most hospitable people I know. Like, if I'm a few minutes late, it's never been like disgusted that,
But
hey,
you're
all the
changing
table.
context again.
Well, I
Like
see
going to
this as a family
Okay, so
table. I see this as a family meal that you come and we want to host you. This is your family. We understand. So to be because you could tighten it up, and I know there's a culture in some more reformed circles where it's like there's pressure on people to dress up now and get back to suits and ties, and it's like, hey, we need to respect the communion table, we need to respect the preaching of the word, we need to all rise, we need to do that, so there. I'm not even against that.
I
if
think
you decide to
the larger
do it,
the
but-
group gets, if it's just, hey, we're going over to Jeff's house to have dinner. It's just two families. There's a level of flexibility, but he's doing a barbecue for a bunch of people, and now I think more people involved. So if you look at 1 Corinthians 11 with the problems with communion, it was a love feast where part of the problem is, hey, you went ahead and started the service. You didn't wait for these people. They come and you've already eaten all the food. There's not stuff left for them. Like they weren't loving each other well by that. So I think when you have a large group of people, and it's easy to say like, yeah, if there's a few people that are coming late or leaving early, like whatever, the people are different. But when you get to a noticeable culture, like, hey, as soon as the message is over, so many people just get up and leave, which is a distraction from worship. you might get to a place as a pastor where it's like, I think we need to address this.
Yeah, I think so. But the Corinthians one is a little. I think the context of that was they had their love feast before the service, and so that's what was that.
It was
the
a favoritism thing. They were
and the drink.
intentionally
Yeah, it
inviting
was
some people in.
Yeah,
and
the
not-
rich people would bring all their food and come, and there were some poor people that didn't have food
didn't get
and
the invitation.
or
Right, and it
weren't
was gone
invited
with it.
to the love feast,
And there wasn't
then-
any left when they got there. They were already drunk.
Yeah, yep. And so then they show up and they're
Right,
doing
but there
the
was a
service.
time dynamic. Either they didn't wait.
I think there was a favoritism dynamic, or there was
Both of them were happening. So you would have a more affluent class that didn't have the same job time restrictions. So their flexible schedule, they could start earlier, but the other people that weren't able to get there till on time.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
It
I
does
mean,
feel
that's-
like more
that
of a
sounds-
discipleship thing than an upfront announcement thing. Because I kind of cringe at laying down the law to everybody there. But I wonder if there was somebody in my connection group that was,
Oh, that's such a
you know what I'm
Jeff.
saying?
That
Like,
is
just in
such a good. I do think that
like
that
friend
is
to
the
friend.
that is the way to address it. I think is personally.
Yeah,
I
like
think-
if all of
I
a sudden
think
you're
find-
getting your whole all your kids up
Because-
and leaving because you just want to get to your minivan before everybody else and it's disrupt. Be like, man, you guys, I don't know if that's a good.
Because did you know the situation that happened here recently in Veritas? The person that maybe the wife came alone or she would leave early, and the reason was they have, I think it's their third kid or something that had like severe special needs, and they were like, one of the spouses would come for like a year or two, were coming to our church, but they would never be able to bring their child because of the special needs. And then we were able to connect them to a nurse that is on the, I don't know, the ICU floor or something like that, and was like, hey, bring that child. We know how to do a trach. We know how to, do this, and we want to serve your family. And so in that case, watching someone leave early because one of the spouses was sneaking out, we have the hospital here, maybe they were staying at the Ronald McDonald House or whatever. So I think to address it more personally, and we see that with mother, people bringing their kids in and disruptive kids. I think that's again an opportunity to address it more relationally and pastorally. I think.
Yeah.
Just
Because it does feel like you could really hurt somebody's feelings that had more of a legit. Now, but that's where if it's just being slovenly, if it's just being selfish or whatever those kind of things are, then more discipleship. Like, I think we should talk about that.
Sure.
Kind of a
I
thing.
would agree. The best way is relationally.
Yeah.
One-on-one. If the disposition from the front was this rigid coming down, condemning, but I do think there is, if it's become a cultural problem, there is an appropriate way to address the, unique circumstances that may involve and lovingly kind of guide people to.
Yeah.
Don't you think though, I mean, as like white Westerners, the ditch that you want to avoid on the other side is probably equally dangerous, but more prevalent. And that's like the rigid ditch. And I think there's like a kind of a corporate business like approach to church. Like I've got a friend in the Twin Cities. He used to work for a really prominent pastor who disqualified himself for ministry. And he talks about how,
but he was on time.
Totally. They would have these production meetings afterwards. And he literally remembers one of these production meetings where the pastor, to make a point, this is not a joke, even though it sounds like a total joke, he took off his shirt and started screaming at everybody because something went wrong in the service. Like somebody stumbled over the announcements and he was just
but why the shirt?
I was like,
the shirt makes it super awkward and drives home the point. But he's like trying to make a point, like this has happened too many times and all that. And it's like, but there's a version of
my pants.
Don't make me strip.
I mean,
I'm like sackcloth and ashes. What's with
This
the
is just
shirt
the
coming
beginning.
off here?
That is an
Full
amazing,
Hulk on
and
it.
I bet that guy was an amazing pastor.
I mean, huge
Like,
church.
amazing in
you
the-
guys all know his name. He just would lose his mind in front of everybody. Just like,
And I'm
Yeah.
sure. Okay,
Wow.
so
Wow.
this is the thing that just makes me want to continue doing this podcast. I hate that stuff, and I hate
Oh, yeah.
I hate the afterword of that that's just him being him,
Right.
and we all do things, and just
Yeah.
and everybody's cowers under that.
I
And so-
totally agree. That guy sounds like an idiot. I hate that stuff too. I just don't want the example of stripping down and yelling at a staff equated to like valuing being on time.
No.
That's why you should always
I
be
know.
late.
If I've seen Jake rip his shirt off once, I've seen it 100 times, man. That guy.
if you are late again, this is coming off.
I know.
that was a veiled thing. Drew's actually talking about Jake.
But at least within
back
our
to
staff, within our staff, in terms of like Sunday morning production, worship, all those different things, nobody needs a heavy hand because everybody, at least on our staff, wants to do super well. And so, like, one time I asked our production guy, Corin, I'm like, Corin, if I called you into my office after a Sunday, what am I going to talk to you about? And he's like, oh, you're probably going to show me like a funny video on your phone that you saw. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, it's because I know Corin, and I know that if something crackles in the sound system or something goes wrong with the lights or whatever, he noticed it and feels more bummed about that than I would. So the idea that I need to be like the policeman who's like just blowing the whistle, like,
No,
hey, you went 5 minutes long on that last song and that disrupted worship. Like, Nate, our worship leader, would know that and feel bummed about it. I don't
totally.
need
But
to,
I think that it's really easy to be flexible with bought in, highly motivated people.
yes.
Because their heart.
Yeah.
But when you be like, I have to do some parenting to somebody
Right.
who's not highly motivated and is making bad
Yeah.
choices, that's
Yeah.
Yeah,
really
if you had a
flexibility.
staff person that you saw just showing up at Veritas 20 minutes into a service, not because they were out, healing the sick, but they were just being lazy and just.
I like
that's
how
so-
that's the example.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
have to be healing.
Because don't you think
That's
trust?
the only Drew. That is the only reason you can be. No, I'm just saying. Like, yes, you would
Trust is
want to
earned,
have
too.
a
and trust can be lost.
yeah.
But that is so not our culture.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
What's
are there irresponsible? I just see that person that's late and leaves early because they want to beat traffic. I see that person as, you know what? I'm glad you were here.
Hmm.
I'm not mad at you for that. I know they're spiritually immature. There are unbelievers that come to our service. There are, and so it kind of breaks my heart that they consumed church. That I can put a pretty negative lens on it, but then when I start thinking of it, it's just like, you know what, they came and
totally. And
so-
I think the difference is when you have, and I think you're always going to have people like that.
Mhm.
When do you assess as a leader, this has become a part of our culture, not the outliners of, you're always going to have some families get up and leave early or come late. That's just part of it.
yeah.
But
What-
you've noticed like, no, this is just kind of the norm. Like
Is there any part of assessing the culture that you would ask as a pastor, like, well, maybe it's on us. Maybe we're the problem. Like, maybe our church is just not engaging. Maybe are like asking hard questions
Well, I think-
about that. Like even
you're definitely the problem. If it's got to a culture, like a predominant culture, just like you look at like your kids they don't behave. You might be like, you think this might be the parents?
So we could right. So do you think that even in people are coming late, do you think you could ask the question, well, maybe it's because our service, we actually do a throwaway song and we don't we don't, or we start with this way that is with
You've perpetuated it.
You've created like, well, yeah, it's not. I don't know.
We don't expect anybody to be here on time, anyways. Why? Yeah.
Yeah. Why make the beginning? You know. So,
And I
don't
think
know.
are you assessing the difference between kind of the outliers or the culture?
Mhm.
And I think you're always going to have outliers. What's the culture? And the leadership has to be responsible for the culture.
Yeah. Can we go back to the pastor who ripped off his shirt for a second? I'm just like,
The most egregious,
what?
what
the heck? Okay. I think I can see how that happened. I don't know for sure that I know the pastor, but if we turn off the mics and I say who I think it is, I think it might be the guy. And I would say, I actually think I saw that like 30 years ago and heard stories, and you can see the progression. You can see a thing like that. Like, how could you get to that point? This would almost be, I have stories of guys in ministry accidentally printed off pornography and someone found it on the church print, and you're like, what the heck? How did you get to that? And I'm saying the progression to get there of pastor ripping off his shirt, that is a thing that I'm like, I see this all the time. I see it with young guys that are making comments and saying things that betray their own just ridiculous, selfish ambitions. And it's chalked up
like
as,
that
well,
guy.
that's just
Totally, because that guy that ripped off his shirt had been left unchecked, obviously,
right,
by those older than him, his peers, whoever along the way, that it could get so over the top, like laughable. Here we are, like the absurdity is why we're laughing at it, you know.
The gateway drug to that was wanting to be on church on time. That's where it starts.
it all started.
Pretty soon you're half naked yelling at people.
But
Some guy,
And if we could go back in
some
time,
guy with a sensitive conscience is listening to this, just weeping. 'Cause I've expected people to be on time.
how wrong,
That's where this
how
lands.
wrong I am.
I need to be so much more late. I'm going to set my alarm 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's I heard this week some, you know, you just get these windows into this, and the ends justify the means for that guy because he's a monster. He hits, oh dude, that sermon was a home run. That, you know, I was talking to a pastor who was like, man, I can't let anyone else do the announcements because I'm the only one that can win the day during the announcement time. And I was like, that's the pressure to have an amazing service and for every moment to be compelling. And I can just imagine what the announcement times look like a little, 5-minute TED talk on everything. So voice inflections are just right, and you're compelling, and it's coming up on the screen. And it's like, no, that's a young pastor that is doing the thing. And the announcements do have to be, and you do talk to your sound guy like, hey, that can never happen again. Like,
dude, I would have gotten
That's
fired.
just so
Remember a couple of
foreign,
weeks
I
ago
mean.
when I got up and started making the wrong announcement, and then I was making an announcement for the wrong event, and I'm looking back like, hey, aren't you going to I'm trying to correct the people.
Yeah.
This is
Classic,
live
classic.
on the stage in front of everybody. Like, man, I did not win the day or anything.
yeah.
But
How do you, because I just see all these little, you were laughing about being a little late, or a culture of grace and trust, and we trust you. It's good. These things can obviously coexist. A culture of punctuality, a culture of honor. You know, we're here. We want to gather. We're at 8:15. We come ready to worship. You can have that and also have a culture of grace and
But
people
like,
matter most. But
performance and self-justification is such a cheap substitute for genuineness. And I think part of what we're saying is Like, if you have to control what's happening in your church as a leader, if you have to micromanage it, I would say at root is like, you've got a bunch of staff and people go to your church who don't believe the gospel. Because the gospel both says you're loved, and it says your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Glorify God in your body. And so I think so much there's this temptation to try to solve heart issues with external control. And the church then becomes this thing that I have to try to manage. And it's like the problems become that key player didn't, hit that intro on time, or that whatever. And it's like, you're leading the church at the wrong level. Like,
do you think though that sometimes where pushing this culture of trust goes wrong is people then feel this pressure that every gap that gets created, I have to assume that something good has happened or there's some reason or excuse. So I never question anything. And it's just trust has become this like righteous virtue, and asking any questions is like a violation of trust, where you might just say, hey, you said you were going to get that done by Friday. It's not done. What happened? Does not mean I don't trust you. You could say, oh yeah, this came up. And it's like, okay.
To me, that's different from being late, not doing something. Oh, I
so
didn't prepare.
You're late. Hey, you were late today. Is everything okay? What's going on? Oh, this went on. Yeah. Can I pray for you? There's no problem, but we almost feel like when we perpetuate a culture of trust, we can never press into anything or never ask any questions. So there's lower accountability.
Yeah. I certainly don't think that's the case in our culture, but I can see where that could, you could create that culture. Yeah. Hey, it's all grace. There's no, and it's just, to me, that point, like the control thing, that's a great pastoral tension of, because I see there has to be banks to the river. Otherwise it's just a swamp and a floodplain. Like you need banks and the water is flowing. That to me is how I see shepherding the church. It's like, yeah, there are banks to the river. And we have a responsibility to that. But back to the performance thing, I think that is such a amazing pastor thing, is an emphasis on performance over what? What's the word? Like if what we're shooting for is, if amazing pastor is the pressure to perform, the pressure to be amazing, on the other side, what is the godly motivation and heart?
Maybe faithful. I don't know.
Faithfulness, or
faithfulness to the Lord, not perfectionism.
Because your sermon there's an aspect to it that's performative, right? Like but it's not.
I think it's the conviction that God is with me and has gifted me to do this. Right? So that's different than I'm going to go perform. It's like, I'm receiving this, not giving this. This is like, God's given me these gifts. God's filled me with his Spirit. And I'm as surprised as anyone else that I'm up here.
Yeah.
Do
you think, and I think to the young pastor who's saying, I'm the only one that can do announcements, I would say, there are, if the other people up there are just bad communicators,
right,
then that also is your stewardship, is to make sure the right people are in the right positions, finding other good communicators to communicate what's going on in the life of the church is also.
Because there's probably part of it we're speaking out of a place of privilege. I mean, I'm leading a church that's 9 years old, and you guys are leading churches that are further down the road. And so we have people in positions on our staffs, for example, that are well established in their roles. And so my heart goes out to that guy who's listening who
Yeah.
is just trying to
Right.
develop the worship leader, or they have a 22-year-old youth pastor who's the only other guy who can do announcements, and the conversation afterwards is like, it's more corrective, and it has to be.
I think in the early
Yeah.
days of Veritas, our production meetings on a Monday after Sunday, they were a lot more like, that was pretty bad. We need to get better, and
Right.
it's hard because there's more inexperience.
But,
And sometimes-
but
I mean,
even
this-
there, though, you have to, like, okay, just looking in the mirror, not projecting on others. Like, if I, on a Sunday morning, am looking at my notes more with a view, man, I hope I do well, like perform well, I will catch myself because, no, if I'm nervous before getting up to speak, it should be, I am an ambassador for Jesus Christ. These words are the words of God. And if I'm trembling about anything, let me be backstage wanting to be an honorable, faithful representative of Jesus. Not, man, I hope I hit this
point.
joke just right, or my
Yeah.
points really wow the crowd, whatever, So, I mean, whether it's announcements or whatever, I hope that, because in my world it's preaching, but whether you're leading worship, doing the announcement, let it be, because you're really trying to honor the Lord and love people well.
Mhm.
And when you get a performative culture, whether you're 6 months old as a church or 60 years old as a church, that's a bad North Star to be pointing the ship toward, is performance. Let's make sure we hit everything. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That
Mhm.
the culture you're creating
Yeah.
has to be Christ-centered. This is God's household, not ours. And
Yeah.
are we honoring
Yeah.
the Lord?
This Drew, you're here because you and James are recording the audiobook to your book, The God Who Helps. When's the book coming out?
It is. So we're recording the audiobook, all of it, this afternoon. So I think we'll be finished today with that. You just wrote the foreword for it, finished it last night. Austin Miller, one of our staff guys, actually SALT director at our church, is finishing up the graphics and all that. So I think it's mid to late September. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's realistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mid to late September. So about a month away. I just have to say, I read it all in one sitting before bed a couple nights ago, and I cried the whole way through. I don't know if I've cried that much in a long time, and it was so moving as you walked me through John 11 and the story of Jesus losing his good friend Lazarus and his dear friends Mary and Martha as they walked through this really hard time. But I just have to say, I mean, it was not tears of despair. Like you made, as you walked through suffering, it became more mysterious and yet more marvelous at the same time, in a way, as you like walked me to the foot of the cross. And I think where it landed for me is just like with worship. I just, when I was done with the last page, I was like, just laid there in silence and just marveled at almost like the living creatures and the angels and the elders when they said, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive glory and honor and the power and the riches and the wisdom forever." And so I can't wait. And I'm going to be your biggest hype man for this. I've thought a lot about just, where C.S. Lewis says praise. That's like, we delight to praise what we enjoy. You see a good movie and what do? No one's telling you have to go tell people about it. You love it. Your joy is completed when you get to tell someone else, this is great. I am very excited about that, and I can't wait for that to come out. So I would love to have a platform to be able to share these different things that we are enjoying and that can be encouraging, edifying to the body of Christ. But I'm really excited about that, Drew. So may God bless your time today as you guys read that. And so yeah, so James, it's maybe your executive decision because it's your time. Is this, Drew, you guys have to bail on the next podcast? Is that?
Yeah, we got to get to it. We got at least 6 hours of recording ahead of us, I would think. So,
wow. Okay.
So yeah, for next episode, Drew and I will be off doing our thing.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to try to get you guys back because we got some fun conversations coming up, and it will be our 50th episode.
What?
Next?
Yes. Yeah.
No way.
So this episode is 49.
Are you serious?
The next one is episode 50.
It's kind of like
the
me.
podcast.
I'm 49.
To celebrate,
and
we got to make it
to
as
celebrate-
average
yeah.
as possible.
Yeah.
It's
Man, Teresa
so-
has got a long way to go to catch up.
Man, if you're just finding the podcast, just imagine how the treasures you could unearth by going back.
You guys should start the next podcast with 6 minutes of silence at the beginning, just to test your rule. Or 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
We should be late. Be 6 minminutes late to our next podcast.
awesome.
Hey, welcome to the Average Pastor Podcast. 6 minutes go by.
People are messing with their AirPods, trying to figure out what's going on. You guys are just sitting
They're
there.
making a point. Somebody needs to be shirtless too. Just draw straws for that right now. Who's it going to be?
Which is funny. Drew's wearing a Veritas Youth T-shirt. It's freezing, and we were looking for a sweatshirt before because it's freezing
Totally.
cold in here. And,
Couldn't find one. There were only mediums.
found
so
one.
I
could've
found
worn
one
a
out of the
really
lost
tight
and
one.
found. And
But
you, well,
it stunk.
Yeah,
it was,
stunk real bad.
it was bad.
So I started putting it on, and it was like, I think some college kid wore it to play like 3 hours of pickup basketball.
So yeah, if you go to Veritas and you're missing a sweatshirt, please take a shower.
Yes.
Please get your hygiene figured out. We
Totally.
burned with the sweatshirt.
Yeah, I was going to say, and don't come looking for that sweatshirt.
It's okay to not be
It's in
okay. but
ashes.
Please do something about it.
Yeah, coming in. There's a difference between coming in late and coming in smelling. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a culture thing. All right. So we're gonna end, and we always end with a good word. Jeff, you are usually entrusted with that task. So what is, as we close our time today, what's the speak a good word over us?
I mean, it's pretty simple. Immediately what came to mind is just, we love because he first loved us. And I was just thinking the love that we have as brothers and the friendship and the laughter and the, exchanging even of different ideas that we think differently on stuff. But that underneath is this love. It's all because of Jesus Christ. And I'm so grateful that a byproduct of his love toward us is that we get to actually horizontally share in that love with one another. You know what I mean? It's just, you guys were in 1 John not long ago, and it's just such a key theme to the whole Christian life. So I'm grateful for the love of Jesus, which allows us to have this love right here. It's a gift.
Wow. Thank you for that. I hope that as you've listened, that maybe there's been something for you to be encouraged by, and just maybe just as the friendship, as you've listened, we hope that you feel a part of the friendship that we've experienced and the love that comes from the Lord, so has flowed to you. Drew, thanks for being here. I can't wait for the book. We'll be hyping that in days to come, and just excited for that to be a blessing to the church. And until next time, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.